What's up, KFG gang? It's your boy Big Boy John 25. Been time gonna be discussing my WWE review and highlights you guys can do. Hit that like button, keep pushing that red button. Let's get started. Alright, tonight's WWE Smackdown on Fox opened up live from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. This show was moved from the Little Caesar Arena in Detroit, Michigan due to the coronavirus pandemic. We immediately see Triple H, who has a mic and talks to the camera. Triple H introduced himself as the Game Triple H and welcome viewers to the WWE Performance Center. He goes on and talks about the state of the art facility was as we see clips from training and other season in sessions in the background. He talked about talks about how many of the top WWE superstars have gone through to the Performance Center, and tonight they return not to train, but do what they do better, and than anyone else in the world, entertain. Triple H says this will be different than anything we see before tonight. He says to sit back and relax, try to forget about the world around you if you can, and let WWE do what they do best. They let them put a smile on our faces. Triple H welcomes us to Friday Night SmackDown on Fox as the music hits and the camera shows us the empty arenas along with the SmackDown ring and blue lasers going around in venue. Michael Cole welcomes us and hypes up tonight's show. Cole is joined by Triple H instead of Corey Graves tonight at the ringside around the table, announcer table. SmackDown feels weird without the crowd. It was just weird without the crowd. That's all I gotta say. Alright, but anyway, what was Corey Graves at? That's all I gotta say. What was Corey Graves at? I just want to put that out there. Anyway, the music hits and out comes Sasha Banks with SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley to start the show. They look ready to talk trash to the crowd, but there's no crowd. They laugh as they walk down the ramp and take the mics. They stopped in front of Cole and Triple H at the announcer table. They talked about how they decided to kick off the show. It doesn't matter how big the crowd is because it's still their house. Bayley asks Triple H where Paige is. Cole says Paige is having travel issues. Banks and Bayley can't believe it. Triple H jokes about being sick of excuses. Banks and Bayley go on about Paige being jealous, just like every other woman in WWE. The music interrupts and out comes Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross talks about how they've been looking for WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Asuka and Kairi Sane and might have to go to Raw, but they also tired of Banks and Bayley. They go on and are ready for a match if Banks and Bayley are. The two sides have words. Bayley calls Cross a little idiot and calls for a referee. Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. We've seen this match before. That match was awful. But can I ask TM, DJ Storms, and Desmond a question? Can Sasha Banks turn against Bayley so she can go after the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania? That's all I'm asking. But I know Desmond, DJ Storms, and TM is going to agree with me in the comment section. But anyway, let me continue. The bell rings as Nikki Cross starts off with Bayley, going back and forth. Bayley gets double teamed early on. Alexa Bliss goes to the top after dropping Bayley in the corner with a slap. Sasha Banks runs over on the other side and pulls Bayley to safety. Nikki Cross runs over and nails a crossbody off the steel ring steps, taking Banks down on the floor in front of Cole and Triple H. Alexa Bliss kicked Bayley from the ring, sending her face first into the announcer table. We go to commercial. Back from the break, and Alexa Bliss gets double teamed in the corner. Cole and Triple H joke around on commentary and explain to the viewers again about the Performance Center. Alexa Bliss gets rolled up but fights back. Alexa Bliss counters a side slam and takes down Sasha Banks. Down. Sasha Banks sends Alexa Bliss face first onto the turnbuckles and then delivers a running knees for a 2 count. Bayley ends up coming in and taking over on Bliss, beating her around in the ring. Sasha Banks connects with a cheap shot at one point from the apron. On the apron as Bayley distracts the referee. Nikki Cross tries to rally from the apron. Another tag between Sasha Banks and Bayley as Bliss tries to fight back and rolls Bayley up. Triple H jokes about a Cross rallying for an empty arena again. Banks comes back and shuts Bliss down. Sasha Banks with a suplex in the middle of the ring. Sasha Banks grounds Bliss again now as Triple H, and Cole continues to joke around, this time about Mario Milano. Bliss continues to get double teamed for a few minutes. She finally mounts some offense and makes a hot tag to Cross. Nikki Cross unloads on Banks and nails a bulldog. Nikki Cross and Sasha Banks trade counters and pin attempts now. Nikki Cross with a backslide for another 2 count. All 4 get involved now. Bliss returns to the apron after leaving Banks and Bayley lane. WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Asuka suddenly appears at ringside and takes Alexa Bliss down on the floor. This leads to Sasha Banks applying the bank statement on Cross for the submission win. The winners of the match, Sasha Banks and Bayley. After the match, Asuka taunts Bliss and Cross from the ramp. Triple H jokes about Asuka running through the crowd. Sasha Banks' music hits as she heads to the corner to pose for the crowd that isn't there. Michael Cole thanks Triple H for joining him, and it looks like Triple H is heading to the back to work. Still to come, a Roman Reigns interview. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Michael Cole is in the ring with another empty chair next to him. He introduced his guest, and out comes Roman Reigns. Cole asks Roman Reigns how weird that was making that entrance to the ring. Reigns talks about this being a business of reactions, but it was weird and cool, and he's glad to be back in the Performance Center. Roman Reigns talks about his past year and how he's been blessed. Now he's back in a familiar territory, and it's good to be back in the main event. Michael Cole asks about WWE Universal Champion Bill Goldberg as their WrestleMania 36 match. Roman Reigns goes on about having great respect of Goldberg, calling him an icon. However, Goldberg is a part-time, and Reigns doesn't think we have time for that in WWE. Roman Reigns goes on about all he thinks of the 24/7 and the 365 is WWE. He's eaten from the WWE table his whole life, and he's groomed for this, and Goldberg isn't ready for him. Roman Reigns says he busted his you-know-what and mastered his craft, and it shows. Roman Reigns says when it comes to the main event of WrestleMania 36, he will whoop Goldberg's you-know-what and take back his title, and then says this plays right. Cole thanks Roman Reigns, and they end the interview as Cole hypes the big spear versus spear match at WrestleMania. Caleb Braxton is backstage with Cesaro. He introduced the new WWE Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn, and he comes with Shinsuke Nakamura. Kyla says they're not scheduled for this segment. Sami disagrees. Kayla says they've been bumped from the segment. Sami and his crew leave to continue their celebration. Kayla introduced her real guest, and out comes Jeff Hardy to make his return on TV. Jeff says he's healthy. He as healthy and hungry as he ever been. He done a lot of soul searching over the past few months and found a lot of important things, and one of those things is that he has a lot more to do in WWE. King Baron Corbin interrupts and mocks Hardy. Corbin says not everyone is happy that Hardy is back. Corbin says things have changed around here. Corbin says Smackdown is now run by a benevolent king who keeps pissing like Hardy in a place. Corbin jokes about Hardy having trouble with alcohol and his DUI charges. Hardy says actually he has a big match tonight, and he's surprised Corbin hasn't heard. Corbin asks against who? It's against Corbin. Hardy storms off, and we hear Elias' guitar playing real quick as he walks up. They have some words, and Corbin isn't happy. Elias goes to perform his latest song, but Corbin storms off and doesn't want to listen to what may have been a warning. Elias says Corbin has no idea what's coming. Still to come, a look at the recent Elimination Chamber match for the Smackdown Tag Team titles. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Triple H has rejoined Cole at the announcer table. Triple H jokes that he's the only guy who can receive a promotion and demotion, and won a reference to our report from Thursday night. Triple H also mentions that the internet was complaining about Cole commentary after just one segment on his own, so Triple H was sent back out. Cole looks at Daniel Bryan's win over Drew Gulak from last Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Triple H gives praise to Gulak. We see Daniel Bryan in the back now. He walks up on Drew Gulak. Bryan says he's been looking for Drew Gulak. Gulak doesn't believe him and goes to leave, but Daniel Bryan stops him. Bryan gives Gulak praise for his performance at Elimination Chamber. Bryan says he's willing to learn if Gulak is still willing to teach. Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura walk up. Sami laughs and brings up how Bryan turned down his invite to join their group a while back. Sami goes on and says Bryan has now been reduced to asking for tips from a nobody. Bryan steps to Sami, but Cesaro gets in the way. Bryan says he issue is with Sami, not Cesaro. Cesaro says if Bryan has an issue with Sami, he has one with Cesaro as well. Bryan asks if that's a challenge, and Sami says it. This have more words, and Bryan tells them to meet him in the ring. Bryan walks off. Gulak steps up and has a few words with Sami, then walks off. Sami indicates that Cesaro and Nakamura will be wrestling Gulak and Bryan. We go back to Cole and Triple H. Cole sends us a replay of the Elimination Chamber match from Sunday that saw John Morrison and the Miz retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles over the New Day, the Usos, the Lucha House Party, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, and Heavy Machinery. We didn't see the entire match, but most of it. Back from commercial break, and the chamber match is still going on. We see more of the match before taking another break. We come back, and Triple H is joking with Cole on commentary again about how bad he is. Cole says, despite no crowd tonight, the world is watching as SmackDown is the #1 trend on Twitter tonight. We go back to the chamber match replay. We get another commercial break before coming back to the last part of the chamber replay. We go back to the empty arena and we see the SmackDown Tag Team Champions in the ring, John Morrison and the Miz. Miz brags about the Elimination Chamber win and how they're still winning titles 13 years later. Morrison and Miz both issue challenges for anyone to speak now if they don't believe these are the best two at what they do. Yeah, right. They also joke about some of their bad movie projects actually being good. Miz says there will be no booing and no you suck chance tonight. Miz knocks Orlando even with no crowd to get heat from. They go on bragging about being champions and pose together, raising the titles in the air and telling everyone to be jealous. They chant a tune about being champions as the segment ends. John Morrison got cemetery sounds even though there's no crowd. The tag team titles are pointless to me. It was just pointless. But anyway, Cole says later tonight we we will address the rumors on Rob Gronkowski in WWE. Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro. This match was decent. It was just decent. We go back to the ring, and out comes Daniel Bryan with Drew Gulak. Triple H starts speaking as Greg Hamilton does the introductions, but Cole cuts him off and jokes about not speaking over the ring announcer. Bryan comes down the ramp with Gulak and tries to lead a yes chant to an empty arena. Cole confirms Bryan versus Cesaro instead of the tag team match indicated earlier. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Cole is at the announcer table while Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak wait in the ring with the referee. Triple H is filming him joking about filling in as a cameraman. Cole shows us this week's WWE backstage segment, and that said former NFL player Rob Gronkowski was in talks with WWE. We go back to Cole, and he confirms Gon is coming to WWE as a superstar. Gon good friends Mojo Rawley joins the announcer table. Mojo said he talked about to going earlier today, and the rumors are true. The former New England Patriots is coming to WWE. Says nothing has been signed yet, but going will be here next week. Mojo, who is a Raw superstar, will also be here next week. Mojo tries to get Cole hyped up as he leaves the announcer table. We go back to the ring, and out comes Cesaro with Shinsuke Nakamura and the new WWE Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn. Nakamura watches from ringside while Sami joins Cole and Triple H commentary. Back and forth to start the match. Cesaro ends up turning it around and unloading on Bryan as Gulak also looks on from ringside. Cesaro loads on the corner and beats Bryan down with forearms and uppercuts. We go to commercial break with Cesaro in control. Back from the break, and Cesaro dominates Bryan. Bryan fights back, and we go back and forth for a few minutes. They go to the mat and trade more counters and pin attempts. Daniel Bryan rolls Cesaro out of nowhere for the win. The winner of the match, Daniel Bryan. After the match, Cesaro is shocked as Bryan music hits. Nakamura immediately hits the ring and starts pounding on Bryan. Gulak makes the save, but the number games catches up as Sami also joins in. Gulak gets launched into the steel ring steps. Bryan does a suicide dive to Nakamura, but barely connects, sending him into the ring post. This is a bad watch as we heard the referee echoing, and she yells at them. It's really been like this all night at a strange look. Cole mentions how he's not sure if we have enough referees here tonight to break things up. Things finally settle down at ringside as Bryan music starts back up. Still to come, John Cena is here. Also, Jeff Hardy versus King Corbin. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and announcers next week is apparently by Rob Gronkowski, plus the WrestleMania 36 contract signed between Roman Reigns and the WWE Universal Champion Bill Goldberg. Jeff Hardy versus King Baron Corbin. We go to the ring for tonight's main event match, and out comes first King Baron Corbin. Elias is on commentary with Triple H and Cole. Jeff Hardy is out next, making his long-awaited return from the 2019 leg injury. Cole attacks Hardy before the bell and dominates, taking control and taking Hardy to the floor. Corbin beats Hardy up and goes back to the ring, telling Hardy to get up. Hardy rolls in, and the referee checks on him. Hardy says he's ready to go. The bell rings and they go at it. Hardy takes control early on and hits several of his signature moves for a 2 count. Corbin counters a finisher and sends Hardy to the corner. Hardy fights Corbin off, but Corbin catches him a deep 6 for a close 2 count in the middle of the ring. Corbin and the referee argue. Corbin talks trash to Elias from the ringside now. Elias stands on the announcer table and starts playing his guitar. Hardy takes advantage of the distraction and hits the twist of fury, not the twist of fate. Hardy goes back on the top and hits a swanton on Corbin for the pin to win. The winner of the match, Jeff Hardy. After the match, Hardy makes his exit as the music hits, and we go to replays. Still to come, John Cena back to commercial. Back from the break, and Triple H is in the same spot he was for his opening speech. He says he hopes we have enjoyed the historic edition of Smackdown. He goes on and says we are missing what makes the show important to fans, and while they're not there physically, they are here. They mention the superstars performing like they will for the fans, and says WWE has truly earned the right to say what it says to the top of their shows, then, now, forever. We go back to the ring, and Michael Cole has the mic, and he introduced John Cena, and out he's quickly comes and Cena all business and tells Cole to let's go to it. Cena thanks the fans and watches at home on Fox, and he shouts them out. Cole brings up the Fiend Bray Wyatt and how Wyatt says Cena previously WrestleMania 30 win over Wyatt leads to the birth of the Fiend. John Cena isn't sure how to respond to someone who blames their failure on him. Cena says a lot of people have said to him how he is the reason for their failure, and now we can add Wyatt to that long list. Cena says while Wyatt got lazy after the WrestleMania loss. Cena says Wyatt is his own biggest enemy. Cena goes on and dismisses the idea that he never lost and just buries others. Cena gets a little heated when he talks about people wanting to be on top, but then getting lazy. So how does he respond to someone who blames him for their failures? He gives them an attitude adjustment. Cole shows us Cena recent Smackdown returns in Boston, and he's promo on WrestleMania 36. Going without him because those WrestleMania spots are earned, not given. Cole asks why Cena will antagonize Wyatt after seeing what he did. Cena says he didn't authorize, he accepts a challenge from Wyatt. Cena goes on about how WWE needs to invest in his future, and he does not feel like Wyatt is a part of the future. Cena says guys like Drew McIntyre, WWE NXT Tag Team Champions Matt Riddle, Tommaso Ciampa, NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, and the Velveteen Dream are the future. Cena says WWE should invest in those talents, and asks why we continue to give fifth and sixth chance to people who ask about me when times get hard. Cena wants WWE to invest in people who deserves it every day. Cena says he accepts Wyatt's challenge so he can take Wyatt out of the equations. Cena says their WrestleMania 36 match won't be a match to steal the show. It will be brutal, gruesome, and uncomfortable to watch. Cena says he will do what should have been accomplished 6 years ago. He will end the hype of the most overhyped and over privileged superstars in existence. We hear Wyatt laughing from the empty seat now. Wyatt has a mic and he hops over the barrel. Wyatt is glad Cena is here, even though he's seeing mean and hateful stuff about Wyatt. Wyatt enters the ring and says it's good to see Cena. Look at Cena. He's doing great now. A big movie star in Hollywood and still has big muscles and great girlfriends. Wyatt says most can imagine what it would be like to be Cena's for one day. Wyatt says Cena has all wrong. Wyatt says he's not sick. Cena is. He knows why Cena came here, and he knows Cena doesn't really give a what about the future. Wyatt says Cena doesn't care who he has to squash and bury on his way. He just wants the spotlight. Wyatt says Cena is addicted to the spotlight. Wyatt says 6 years ago Cena took something from him. He thought about it so much it drove him crazy. Wyatt says the voice in his head never stops, and then something magical happened. He stops fighting the voice one day, then started listening to them. They took his crook little world and turned it into a majestic fun house. Wyatt says Cena broke him, and the Fiend put him back together. And at WrestleMania 36, it's going to be a slaughter. Cena just don't know it yet. Right? It's in Cena's face. Let him in. John, the screen flashes with the Fiend presents as Wyatt lets out a quick laugh. The screen goes black now as the familiar Wyatt echoes out over the arena. The first ever Smackdown on Fox from the WWE Performance Center goes off the air. Anyway, if you guys enjoy my my WWE Smackdown review and highlights, drop a like on this video. Comment down below what you guys think of Smackdown. Smackdown was a decent show. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. My Twitter, my Instagram, and TikTok will be down below in the description. I will see you guys later, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Shout outs to DJ Storms, TM, Coltrane, shout outs to you, shout outs to Desmond, and shout outs to everybody, man. I am so close to 3K on my channel, so keep hitting that like button, keep pushing that red button, and I'm going to read your comments down below. So anyway, you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you guys later, and I'm out of here.